Question.
Hello. Yeah. That's the first time we have this kind of situation. What's up, my friend? This is Mavrex, a
What's
shy
going
guy
on?
turned Marvel stunt actor.
Yeah, man.
Mavrex is awesome. He was just telling me how Canada is too laid back, too easygoing, and you don't
hmm
have anything to make you sort of get out of your comfort zone. So that's why he became a stunt actor.
That was actually not 100% true because it's fucking cold out there right now. So it's like minus 15 degrees and it only gets colder. I don't know how cold it gets in Brazil, but last year it got down to minus 40. So there's definitely things to break you out of your comfort zone. So it all comes down to perspective at the end of the day.
Yeah, at least you get some cold showers for free.
Oh, yeah, bro. You get some shriveled dicks for sure, bro. Had some of that this morning.
So, bro, how did you go from a shy guy that became a stunt actor? And also, when you were a kid, you told me before that you really liked sports and you really liked anime. And how did you make this transition? Were you a shy kid? And did you see becoming a stunt actor as something to break out of the shell? How was that for you?
No, yeah, honestly, I didn't think about stunt acting till like literally a few weeks before I did the stunt acting. So, like my whole life, I just love sports my entire life, and I've always loved team sports. I love basketball. I love soccer. I loved just football, rugby, everything, like everything to do with balls, but I love that shit. But I just loved physical activity. I love movement. I love moving my body in space and proprioception, all that kind of thing. And yeah, growing up, I've always been a really shy kid. I've always been that kid that was hiding behind my mum's leg and all that kind of thing. When it came to girls, I was really good at seducing girls on MSN and make them fall in love with me through text and all that kind of thing. But when it came to the real deal, when it came to face, I could not make eye contact. I couldn't like even have a conversation. I was always yeah, like for me, if the girl was shy, I was shy. But if the girl was confident and she was really good at speaking, then I would just kind of follow her lead. I was not never a really masculine man. I was never a really good leader. I was always kind of adapting, being a chameleon to the room. I would always be, yeah, someone that was like a master of disguise. I would follow whatever was going on, the energy, adapt to the energy, right? But it's only been a few years, I would only say like 3 years since I started to really create my own masculine frame and make it be the energy that influences the room instead of being influenced by the energy in the room. So I'm kind of going all over the place right now because I'm a pretty chaotic dude because that's my nature. Growing up, I was surrounded by females, a lot of feminine energy my whole life. My dad didn't grow up with a strong masculine presence because his dad was murdered when he was around 8 years old, 9 years old, and he had
Damn.
six. Yeah, see, I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for him, but he had six sisters, and he was the middle child, so he was the only brother, and he had a strong female mom, of course, female mom. And so he was influenced by a lot of feminine energy. So naturally, I absorbed that feminine energy from my dad as well. So like I had a lot of female cousins. I was the only sorry, I was the only dude out of all my cousins for a long time as well. And so I absorbed a lot of that feminine energy as well. So they painted my fingernails, put lipstick on me, all this kind of thing. So naturally, I just became very feminized. I'm not
You were
saying
the
that's a bad thing
doll.
because actually, I was a doll. Yeah, pretty much. And so I'm not saying that's a bad thing because now I'm looking back, I actually realize that it's actually my superpower because I'm able to empathize with people. I'm able to be more soft and look from a different perspective, and I'm able to connect with people because I'm able to look at life through their lens. Whereas, masculine frame is more so like, oh, stoic, and this is the only way to live life kind of thing. So I'm able to balance through those kind of lives and be more fluid with it. But to go back to the Marvel thing, it's actually really funny because I didn't get into acting until 2019, and that's a story. That's actually a long story. I'm not sure if you wanted me to get into that, but to
I'd
get
love
into
to,
the
man.
maybe fuck okay. So to get into the Marvel part, I would have to tell the story of how I got into acting. So how it all started was I was still living in Sydney, Australia, and I was watching the Toronto Raptors basketball game. I'm not sure if you know what happened in 2019,
Yeah, I
but
remember,
the
man.
Toronto Raptors, they were in the NBA and they were in the NBA finals for the first time in history. And they had never won, they had never been in the finals, let alone win the whole finals. And so there's only one team outside of all of the states that is a non-American state in the sorry, non-American team in the NBA, and that's the Raptors. And I've actually got a Canadian citizenship because my mum moved from Cambodia to Canada, right? After the war in Cambodia. So I've got a Canadian Australian citizenship, but I've lived in Australia my whole life. So I've always had this strong connection with Canada. And so I was watching the game in Sydney with my family, sorry, with my friends. And my friend was really close to Canadians as well because he has a strong affinity to the Canadian team as well. So watching the game at my friend's house, and the Canadian team won 3-1. So if you guys, for anyone that's not aware, all you got to do is win 4 games out of 7 games, and you'll win the whole finals, and that's the championship. So they're up 3-1, and the statistics is usually if the team's up 3-1, there's a very high likely chance, like around 95% chance that you're gonna win the whole thing. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, they're gonna fucking win. They're gonna change the whole fucking history. The whole country's gonna go crazy. And so my friend was like, how crazy would it be if we were there when all this shit happened? I'm like, let's fucking do it. And he's
Fuck
like,
yeah.
nah, what the fuck? I was just joking. I was just joking, man. Like I was like, that's just a dream. That's just a joke. Come on, like who's gonna fucking go and watch the game like 2 days from now and just buy a ticket tomorrow? I'm like, bruh, you can't just fucking say something and not mean it, bro. If you say something, you better be able to back that shit up instantly, bro. He's like, oh no, but what am I gonna tell my, what am I gonna tell my like mom? What am I gonna tell my boss and stuff? I was like, bro, just tell them that you're gonna be sick or some shit. Just tell your mom straight up the truth that you're gonna go to Canada and that it's gonna be life changing. Because like, when is this ever gonna happen again? And although it's not the wisest decision, but I don't know, it could be a life changing thing. And
Those are the
so
best
we're definitely gonna be
decisions.
in the history books. Exactly. When you're like, fuck it, let's just fucking do it, fuck it, and you have no plans and it's spontaneous, right? That's what life is all about. Like, this is the wonder of the universe. This is why we're like, sometimes we just make that decision, boom, and be like, holy crap, we're in a whole different way. This is fucking happening right now. Is this a fucking dream? Someone pinch me, bro. So I really believe that's that's one thing that anyone that's watching this needs to know. I have no limits, and I don't like to live life by limits. I don't like to live a rigid life. I like to be able to know that there's no, well, like I don't want to know what's happening around the corner because life is too predictable like that, right? I like the idea that when nothing is certain, then anything is possible. So that's something that I live by. So
That's powerful, man.
fast forward, fast forward 2 hours after they already won that third game. So they're up 3-1. My friend still wasn't fully decided yet if we wanted to go. I was ready, bro. I was like, yo, if you're in, I'm fucking in. I'm ready. I'm ready right now, but I need you to come with me. And so what happened was we went to the basketball court to play outside. It was like a cold winter's day in Sydney, Australia. It was like 15 degrees Celsius. And I was wearing my puffer jacket, not warmed up, everything. I picked up the basketball, we shot at the ball. It was a swish, bro. I was like, oh shit, okay. I'm feeling myself. Didn't warm up yet. I'm feeling myself. So you get the ball back, shut the ball, swish again, bro. I was like, okay, shit, this is not normal, bro. Not normal, man. So I get the ball again, shut the ball, swish again, bro. I was like, holy shit, man. There's something in the air right now. I don't know what it is, but I'm really feeling something weird right now. So I got the ball again. shot the ball, another swish. For all of you guys that don't know what a swish is, it's a perfect shot where it doesn't touch anything but the net. It's a perfect shot. So I had that 4 times in a row. I've never had that in my entire life. 4 times in a row, especially with no warm up. So at this point, they passed me the ball one last time. I'm like, dude, guys, if I get this ball one more time, it doesn't have to be a swish. As long as it goes in, we're fucking going to Canada, bro. So they're like, yeah, whatever, whatever, whatever. Okay, okay, cool. So I get the ball. I close my eyes. I feel the bumps on the ball. I smell the ball. That new rubber smell. Give it a kiss. I visualize the ball going in. I shoot the ball. And it's like slow motion, bro. Frame per frame. And I completely missed, bro. It was a complete air ball. I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch anything, not even the air. Like, it was way off, bro, by a whole meter. And I was just like, yeah, one more shot, one more shot, one shot. That doesn't count, doesn't count. The next one, next one. So the next one, I shot it, and it was a swish, bro. I was like, we're fucking going to Canada, boys. You're fucking coming with me. So I passed the ball to my friend. He gets the ball. He shoots it. It's a swish as well. And then the guy that we watched the game at his house, it was a swish as well. And then the ball just bounced to some random Korean dude because we were in Koreatown, pretty much, of Sydney. And he picks up the ball. He was sitting on the bench. He picks up the ball. He shoots it. It's a swish as well. I was like, "You're fucking coming to Canada with us, man." He's like, "Oh, no, me?" He was like a middle aged, like 50-year-old Korean man. It was like so cute, and he was so confused. But long story short, the next day we bought a ticket, flew out the day after that, and we landed in Canada. Literally picked up from the airport, drove to drop off our stuff at the my friend's house, and then after that we went straight to watch the game right then and there. Surprised my cousin. He had no idea that I was coming. I had orchestrated this thing with his friend, and he was waiting outside the bar where he was watching the game, and he was smoking a cigarette. And I come up to him. I'm like recording him with my GoPro. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, bro? What's going on, man?" And he's like, he's drunk. Yeah, he's like, "What the freak? What the freak? What the freak?" Like, I'm like, "Yo, dude, you're not gonna say hi to me. You're not gonna like give me a hug. I haven't seen you in 2 years, bro. Give me a hug, bro." He's like, "What the freak?" I'm like, "Yo," I'm just cracking up so hard. We actually, and then we went upstairs and we watched the game, and that was the game that was supposed to be the game winner. They ended up losing the game, bro. But so they actually lost the game, but 2 days later, they won the game. There was like 2 million people on the streets celebrating. Like everyone was stacked like penguins, singing the Canadian anthem. People were smoking weed like crazy because weed was just legalized like the year prior, and life was just fucking crazy, bro. So that was it with the game. But how this connects to my acting career is that the guy that picked us up from the airport, he happened to be my best friend. Sorry, my best friend's best friend from Canada. So the guy that I made the deal with to come to Canada, it was actually my best friend. Shout out to Daniel. He's been fucking huge inspiration in my life. Without him, I would not be the man I am today. So shout out to Daniel, my brother. I love you, bro. And he was happened to be the friends of this guy that picked us up from the airport that happened to be a director. And so he was directing a short film called Code Switch. Shout out to Lua, my brother from Toronto. And he was developing this short series. And he was like, guys, would you guys be interested in being extras on my short film? Short series, actually. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, what's the role? What do we have to do? And he's like, yeah, you just have to act like a couple of fuckboys. You just have to be like fuckboys. You have to hit on this girl in the diner.
Just
I
be
was like,
yourself.
yeah, bro. Exactly. That's literally what I was gonna say. I was like, yeah, just be myself. Don't even have to act, man. And so the next day, before the game, we actually went to a diner. They booked out a whole diner. We were there from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. the next day. There was like chicken wings and everything, all like for free. There was snacks. There was beautiful women. There was people that like we were just getting to know, and there was free food, all this kind of stuff, cameras, lights, camera, action, all that kind of stuff. And we were 24 hours jet lagged. We had just landed the day before, but I was just so tired. But at the same time, I was like, this is so fun. Like I had so much energy. I was like, how people get paid to do this shit? People get famous doing it? Like, yo, I'll do this shit for free, man. So, long story short, after that, went back to Australia. After I was there for 2 more weeks, went back to Australia, quit my job straight away. Now looking back, that probably was not the best decision because I didn't make any money from acting until another 6 months. So I quit my job, got an agent, got scammed by my agent, got another agent, and that was the beginning of my acting career. So from then on, it was just like, whoa, like I was just like diving deep, balls deep, full deep. I didn't know how to swim yet, but I dove deep into the acting industry, and from then on, it's been a crazy journey. It's been that was 29 mid 2019, so 4.5 years now, almost 5 years. Wow, time's flying, bro. It's terrifying. We're talking about time flying the other day. I mean, a few minutes earlier, and yeah, I'm shitting myself. It's crazy to know that that was 4.5 years ago, but it felt like freaking two 2 hours. Like honestly, it felt like a dream, man. It felt like it didn't even happen. To be honest.
Wow, man. That story of going to Canada on a whim, that's pretty awesome. And while you were saying, while you were telling the story, and after you told me that you just quit your job and like, fuck it. And were you always that
Yeah.
spontaneous, or was it something that you started picking up as you grew up?
That's a good question because I think I've always kind of been like, fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just jump straight into the deep end because I think that is a very feminine part of life, a feminine kind of nature kind of thing. Because the masculine energy is more like very logical, very structured, very planned. Like you think out everything before you make the decision, right? But feminine nature, and that's something that I grew up with and something that I've been working with. It's been my superpower, but it's been my detriment as times. As me, obviously, I quit my job straight away, and I had no money to sustain myself. So it's like very whimsical. It's like, oh fuck it, let's just do whatever we feel like at that moment, right? So I would say I think yeah, it's kind of been a part of my life. Well, it's been a theme in my life for a very long time. Even when I started this whole spiritual journey, when I started to learn more about myself, it was when my I found out that my girlfriend cheated on me at the time, and we'd been going through this whole like toxic relationship. So I realized it wasn't just fully her fault. There was a reason why she cheated on me. I'm not saying that like cheating on someone is a good thing, but I realized that it was a process for her to cheat on me. But when I found out that she cheated on me, I was like, fuck this. Within like a week, my auntie called me. So the next day, my auntie called me and she was living on Perth. So I grew up in Sydney, Australia, but my auntie was living in Perth at the time, which was all the way on the other side of the continent. And she called me. She's like, hey, Brendan, I'm planning to go to Japan for 3 weeks. Do you want to come to Perth and help me out for the restaurant for 3 weeks? And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And I booked a flight that same night. A week later, I flew to Perth and I was supposed to live there for 3 weeks, but I ended up living there for 6 months. And it was the best 6 months of my life. That was the beginning of my spiritual journey. I got into veganism for like 30 days, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna be vegan one day fully. I just don't know when. I'm not ready to let go of this carnivore diet because I fucking love meat. I love my honey. I love my meat lovers pizzas. I love everything to do with steak, all that kind of thing at that time. And back then, I was just got into surfing, got into coffee making, I got into skateboarding, I got into sales. I just was living my best life, bro. Downhill mountain bike riding, went deep sea fishing where you could not see a single speck of land. Like everywhere around you was just ocean. Like life was amazing, man. So to answer your question, yes, I believe that this spontaneous side of me, this side of me where it's just fuck it, has always been a part of me, bro. And I feel like it's my superpower, but at the same time, it could be my kryptonite at the same time.
Yeah, so far all the stories you've told me, it always comes across as your superpower and never as the kryptonite. Maybe later you can tell me something about it being the kryptonite, but when you went to Perth, so you had this big lifestyle change. You started picking up on new sports and new situations, new experiences, a new diet. Do you credit this to the move and wanting to live a different life since you sort of felt that you needed to change something after your breakup? How was
Yeah,
that?
yeah, 100%, man. So I grew up in a very interesting part of the world in Sydney, Australia. I grew up in this place called Fairfield, and it's very close to this place called Cabramatta, which is pretty much like if anyone, if from all my US viewers, it's similar to the Bay Area in California. So a lot of Asians, a lot of tatted up Asians where it's like we got dragons and sleeves, and all we do is we go every single weekend, we go to the karaoke's, we drink Hennessy green tea and we get fucked up, do a lot of drugs, and that was my kind of lifestyle every single weekend for from I was like 16 till around the age of 23 when I went through this kind of, you could call it a spiritual awakening, when I just started to find myself, because I had to lose myself first before I found myself, right? And so I'd been living in that kind of bubble, that matrix, for 7 years of my life. I was just doing the same thing. I just thought that's what life was. Just that's what everyone else was doing every single week. So I thought that was the normal thing. So it wasn't until I moved to Perth and I got my heart broken. And for any of you people that out there that have not been heartbroken before, I really recommend it. It's gonna change your life forever. I recommend that to everyone. Go out there, get your heart broken, get your heart crushed, get your heart stomped on, because it's gonna open up your mind to be like, whoa, I need to change something in my life, and it helps you to see from a different perspective. So that's when I moved to Perth, and I just saw life so differently. I was like, holy crap, I don't have to eat banh mi every single day. Like I don't have to have like pho every single morning, like every single time I'm hungover. Like what the hell? Like life is so vast, so beautiful. There's so much to experience, and that's just on the other side of the continent. Imagine on the other side of the world, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm literally living on this other side of the world. I'm living 15 hours behind in a different time zone. So literally different hemisphere, different continent, different weather. Like, so I'm always trying to find a way to live a different life, to see from a different lens, because I know that's where the comfort zone expands and that's where we grow the most, right? So to answer your question, yeah, I've always realized that I had to switch, I had to surround myself with different people, different mindsets, different thoughts. And I really believe that thoughts are things. And in order for us to change our life, to change our environment, to change our results, whether that be financial or physical or mental, we have to start here. And that's the foundation of what I teach.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Talking about this, let's go into a bit more of what you teach because you help introverted men that have social anxiety and these kinds of people. And I'd say I'm one of them, though a bit reformed, and I have worked a lot on myself in the past to like break through this. But yeah, we tend to be very logical, very rational, like you said, and try to do things planning and thinking about all possible outcomes. And that's one of the biggest reasons that they have social anxiety in the first place because they're thinking if I
Exactly.
say this, they will say that, and then I say this and that.
Exactly.
And so, how do you help them build their confidence and be more spontaneous, try to be a bit less logical, and overall overcome shyness?
So that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. It's funny you asked that as well, but because I was just talking to my girlfriend about this, and she was talking about how she is working with her social anxiety too. And we came, like, straight away, I told her it's because the reason why we have social anxiety is because we're too worried about what other people think at the end of the day. That's the root cause. And when you worry about what people think, you're not able to be truly yourself. You're not able to be your authentic version of yourself. Because if you really think about it and you break this down, when you're your most authentic version of yourself, you're speaking your truth, you're being 100% yourself without caring what people judge about you, then that's when you're free. That's when your most charismatic version of yourself, that's when your most magnetic version of yourself, because you're just being, you're just improvising, you're connecting with the universe, and you're not thinking, you're just being, you're just here right now in the present moment. And that's when you're the most attractive, most magnetic version of yourself. Not just attractive to the opposite sex, but just attractive, magnetic in general, where people are like, whoa, something about this guy. I'm not sure what this guy has, but he has the X factor. There's something about this guy that's unique to himself or herself that is very intriguing and makes me more interested in what that guy has. So when you don't give a fuck about what other people think, and that's something that has to be worked on every day, right? It's we're constantly stepping out of our comfort zone to break out of that that shackle of like caring what people think about us, and that's something that we gotta not care about what we think about ourselves first, because we judge ourselves more than any other person
Much
judges
more.
about ourselves. And we think it's us thinking about what people think about us is us judging ourselves. So I'll say that again. The fact that we think that someone is judging us, that's us judging ourselves. So it always comes from the root. So what I teach is a very empowering belief is that everything comes from within, right? Before we can change the outside world, before we can change the mirror of this environment, we have to change how we see ourselves. We have to change our identity. So this is why I teach this idea of identity shifting. So you have to change the fact that we believe that we are a shy guy, which I used to believe. My identity used to be that I was a shy guy. But once I shifted that mindset to be like, I'm no longer a shy guy. I used to be a shy guy, but now I'm a charismatic person. I'm the best version of myself. I'm the most magnetic version of myself. I'm the most confident version of myself. I'm the version of myself that is self-actualized. I'm the version of myself that God put me on this earth to be the best, most impactful person. Then, only then, that when we adopt that mindset, and at first it could be a lie. That's why people say, fake it till you make it, right? But shout out to my brother Dave Meyer. He said, believe it until you achieve it. So you got to believe a thought. You got to keep indoctrinating yourself with the thought until you believe it with repetition. And only then will you start to act that certain way. You got to be before you can do. So you got to be before you can do, right? So first, you got to be that person that's extroverted. And I'm still not extroverted. I'm actually proud that I'm an introverted person. Although this is how I present myself, I may seem like the most confident person. I may seem like I can just pull words out of my ass all the time and words just keep coming, coming, coming. But at the end of the day, I'm still an introverted person. Like after this call with you, I'm gonna be here with my own self, meditate. I'm gonna be in my own energy. I'm gonna breathe. I'm gonna watch shows. I, I love just being by myself, and that's something that's at my core, right? But I can be able to switch on that version of me where I'm just charismatic and confident and just control the room whenever I want. But it takes energy as well. So all that to say, we have to first be before we can do. We have to believe before we can achieve, and we have to adopt that mindset before we can actually show that and push that out, speak it into existence, into this reality.
Yeah, man, that's fucking awesome. And I also love Dave's phrase. I use it a lot in my writing or versions of it. And like you, man, I used to think that being an introvert was sort of a weakness or something that made you not a worse person, but it's a weakness in social life, or people
Mm,
wouldn't like me because I was more introverted. I wouldn't say I was shy
mm,
exactly. I think being shy and being introverted are two different things. There are extroverts that are
100%.
shy, and there are introverts
Yeah,
that aren't shy. But yeah, man, I think, like you said as well, you can like your alone time, you can like doing things by yourself and being energized by your thoughts, your meditation, your writing, whatever you like to do. But at the same time, you can also put on a show, you can also get on a stage and
mm-hmm,
make people engage with what you have to talk to them about, and you can record
100%.
videos. I've seen that you have a YouTube channel as well. So yeah,
My
man,
brother.
I
Yeah.
totally resonate with all of this.
Thank you, bro. And I think it's because we both had like similar like not upbringing, but the fact that you still identify as an introvert. I always identify as an introvert because, if anything, being an introvert is a superpower. Because if you're an introvert, then you're able to go inside, introspect, look inside your mind, and that's where all the secrets are. Because everything that you learn outside is all coming from the inside, right? Because something I teach and something that the spiritual teachers like Jesus and Buddha and all the masters have taught for the longest time is that everything's connected, as within, so without, as above, so below, right? So the more you learn about your inner world, the more you're able to master your outer world. And you got to master your inner world before you master your outer world first. So that's why we resonate so well. It's because we both love to be introspective and write and stay keep to ourselves, but we can turn it on. Like right now, we're both turning it on this more extroverted version of ourselves. But yeah, I would like to think probably we're more so ambiverts than anything, because it does take a certain person to host a space. That's it's not an easy thing to do. It's really draining to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is because you have to sort of be paying attention at all times. You never know when they'll call up your name or when you have to like
Yeah.
comment on something or to
Yep.
reset the room. You always have to keep that attention at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you were saying, I think one of the superpowers of being an introvert is that you pay attention to what people are saying. And like you said in the
Yes.
beginning, we are more empathetic, I guess, because when you're talking all the time or when you're thinking about what you're going to talk next and what you're going to say next, you sort of
Mm.
can't pay attention to what the person's actually telling you. Sometimes
Exactly.
it's not even the words, it's what they mean or the feeling that they are trying to
Mm-hmm.
convey, and the words are
Yes.
are not enough. They can't express themselves as well as they wanted to.
100%. It's like if you're not paying attention, if you're not fully present with the person in front of you, then you can't fully give the best answer to them. So, because even if you say, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," and if you're not really paying attention to the subtext, and this is something that I learned a lot in acting as well, when script of a scene, although it says "I'm fine" or fuck you could mean a great thing. It's like fuck you or fuck you or fuck you. Like they're all different things, right? So we got to be very, very attentive to exactly what the subtext of that is. And that's another thing that I teach in my communication coaching as well, is that you got to be careful exactly what they mean with the tonations. The tone is everything. Tone is like 80% of the communication, with the words is like only 20%. And so another technique that I learned from, I love to teach people, is you just type in the Meisner technique. That's in YouTube. That's probably the best way to learn it. But it's a technique where you pretty much say, I'm with you right now, and we could be actually we could probably do this and to show everyone right now. It's much easier to demonstrate than to teach. So have you ever heard of the Meisner technique, Gabe?
No, man, it's my first time.
Okay, cool. So just a little basic intro to it. Pretty much it's a exercise to help us get into the present moment. So we stop thinking what's in our mind and we stop caring, we stop judging about what people think about us. So pretty much what happens is when I'm looking at you and I could say you have a beard, and then you would just repeat exactly what I say. So you have to really be attentive to what I say. So, for example, I say, you have a beard, and you say, I have a beard. And then I say, you have a beard, and you say, I have a beard. And we just keep going until something changes. So if something changes and I notice that, I'll point that out. And then for example, I say, you nodded. And then you say, I nodded. And then I say, you nodded. You say, I nodded. And we just keep going until the next person notices something in the other person. And you just keep going. So you want to try that out for like even like 10 seconds or even
Yeah,
20
sure,
seconds?
man. Sure, man.
Okay. You smiled.
I smiled.
You smiled.
I smiled.
You smiled. And just keep, say it the quicker the better.
Okay, I
You
smiled.
nodded.
I
You
nodded.
smiled.
I
You
smiled.
nodded.
I
You
nodded.
smiled.
Where's my
You
hope?
nodded.
I know
You
it.
smiled.
Where's my
You
hope?
nodded.
I know
You
it.
smiled.
Where's my hope?
You're stagnant. You're
I'm
stagnant.
stagnant. I'm stagnant.
You're stagnant.
I'm
You're stagnant.
stagnant.
You're smiling.
I'm stagnant. I'm smiling.
You're embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
You're embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
So, so that's just like a little gist of the exercise, and we could do this for like 20
Dude,
minutes.
this is a tongue
That
twister,
when,
man.
yeah, yeah. So
It's
it
too
actually helps
quick.
you become more. It helps you to become more articulate as well. So you pronounce the words better, and also you're just present. You usually after the first like 2 minutes, you kind of just forget that you're even here. It becomes a meditation. You kind of forget that what you're thinking, and you're so focused on the other person that you can't help but be present. And so I remember I was telling my girlfriend the story the other day as well. It's like I was doing this exercise with a girl, and this is we did acting practice. We'd do this like once a week. We'll just all the actors would meet up and we'd just do one person, 20 minutes, one person, 20 minutes, and we'll just keep going. And so I was doing this with a girl, and she was looking up. She was much shorter than me, like this much shorter than me. She was looking up into my eyes, and she's like, "You're nervous." I'm like, "I'm nervous." She's like, "You're nervous." I'm like, "I'm nervous." She's like, "You're nervous." I'm like, "I'm nervous." I'm nervous. And she's like, "You're nervous." And I'm like, "I'm nervous." And then after literally 5 minutes, she was like, "You're nervous." And I'm like, "I'm nervous. I'm nervous." And then I admitted it pretty much. So that goes to show that you could say something so many times, but the tone you could feel straight away. As soon as I'm like, I'm nervous, like you could tell that I was telling the truth because I was trying to hide that from her. I don't know why I was trying to hide that, but I was trying to hide that from her because she wasn't exactly the most intimidating. She wasn't hot. She wasn't like taller than me. She was way shorter than me. So if anything, you'd think that I shouldn't be nervous, but I was nervous for some reason and I was hiding that. And so this is another great exercise to help someone to be more authentic because when you're authentic, when you're your best version of yourself, when you're just fully yourself without no masks, when you're not lying about who you are, when you're not lying that you're not nervous, when you tell people that you're nervous, this is why another reason why it's a superpower. Say when you're on stage, I do this all the time. When you're on stage, when you're on a space, when you're hosting a space, when you're speaking for the first time, when you're speaking in front of a crowd of people, just call yourself out. Like the first thing I do when I am truly that, when I get up on stage, I'm like, I'm fucking shitting myself right now, guys. I've never done this in my life. I've never stood in front of a crowd doing the comedy stand up. This is my first time. I'm fucking shitting myself. I got bricks in my pants. Like people laugh, people appreciate that shit because you're being real, right? And that takes off the weight off your shoulders. Like, oh fuck, okay, I don't have to put on this mask anymore. I'm just being myself, and that helps you to be more magnetic, to be more confident as well, more charismatic. So that's another trick, another tip that I would love to give the viewers right now. Just call yourself out. Just be yourself. Tell you the truth, because the truth will set you free.
Yeah, well, man, I was thinking about instances in which I was putting on a mask and how much energy it drained from you trying to
Yeah.
look more confident or whatever you're trying to
Hmm.
convey. It's the same thing if
Hmm.
you're lying about something. Some
Yep.
people will find out. Well, like one day they will find out because you can't keep it up for long. It's just too draining. You have to
Yep.
keep constantly trying to cover it up and put on the mask and
Exactly. Like, you gotta pick your nose, fucking pick your nose, man. Like, just do it, bro. Just be yourself. Just and that's what children do. That's why children are so magnetic. I don't know if you realize this, but children are so magnetic. They're so authentic. They're just they don't give a fuck about what people think. They'll pick their nose. They'll fucking eat it straight away, and like they'll tell you that it tastes good because they're just living their best life. So at the end of the day, what I teach is to help you to redefine yourself, who you were before society got to you and put a fucking shackle on your brain and boxed you into this fucking cubicle job that took away your unique superpower because every single kid has a superpower, right? But like Einstein said, if you judge a goldfish by its ability to climb a tree, it's gonna live its entire life believing that it's stupid. So we have to remember what our superpower was, what we enjoyed as children, what were our passions as a child, and that's what's going to help us connect to our inner child and help us to become the best version of ourselves, our most magnetic version of ourselves. We're going to be on purpose every single day because we're living our true meaning of life, and that's something that only we can define for ourselves. And we already know. We just need someone to help us to pull that out of us to be like, what were you when you were before life like fucking grabbed you by the balls and castrated you from your fucking dream.
And when did you feel that pull? When did you feel life pulling you by the balls and telling you that you should help people with that?
So I feel like everyone in the world, like everyone knows that we all have this innate desire to want to help other people, right? But I would be lying to say that, oh yeah, I've always been like, I just want to help people. Of course, like I want to help myself as well. But I found out that when you help others, man, it's just like you get this amazing feeling. Okay, it kind of probably started when I started to post more videos on Instagram, on YouTube. That's when I went to Perth. When I went to Perth, that's when I created this whole first. I created this brand called Adventure Time. So my last name is Chor. My first name is Brendan. Brendan Chor. My shout out to my friend Kevin Chu. He came up with the idea Adventure Time. So I used that whenever I started to post more videos, and I don't know, I'll get messages from random people I've never met in my life, people living in Brazil, people living in freaking Morocco, people that I've met that I haven't spoken to in 10 years. Like, they're like, dude, like, keep doing what you're doing, man. Everything that you're doing, you're just so real to yourself. Thank you for sharing like your life. Like, it's just very inspiring. It's helping me to live my best life and helping me to push outside my comfort zone. And when I read that message, it's just like a message, but that's why words are so powerful, because it's like, yo, if this words can be either black magic or white magic, because words are spelling, right? Words are magic. That's why they call it spelling. Like every single time we say our words, we're casting spells, abracadabra, right? So you could either use that to heal the world, or you could use that to burn the world. So I realized that these people were casting white magic spells on me. They're like, thank you. Thank you is the most powerful spell in the world. Thank you. Just appreciation, the gratitude. So that made me feel good. And I was selfish. I wanted more of that. I was addicted to that feeling, that positive addiction. So I've been addicted to many things in my life: porn, weed, not smoking, but just dopamine in general, Netflix. So when it comes to that addiction, there's healthy addictions, right? So I was healthily addicted to this feeling of making other people feel good. So I've been on a quest to get as more addiction and that dopamine fix as much as I could, and I'm trying to scale that now.
Oh yeah, man. It's so interesting. The first cases of people that start giving you those compliments and that kind of feedback. And in the beginning, I don't know about you, but I felt like, why are you telling me this? What did I do? I didn't do anything. Like,
Mm,
I had sort of an imposter syndrome, maybe, or
yes.
some sort of insecurity in the background. And I was like, man, I just put a video. I just made a little text. Why are you overreacting with this? Maybe because I didn't know how to receive that kind of compliment. And did
Exactly.
you feel that way as well?
Not so much myself, but I do receive that sometimes, where it's like I do resonate with that specific thing, not exactly with the receiving compliments, but for me, it's receiving money because I'm Asian, and I don't know if you know the culture, but whenever we go to eat at like a restaurant, what our parents do as a kid, we learn this as little kids. Whenever my one of the parents, like say we go out to a family gathering, there's two families, and at the end of the restaurant dinner, my dad would go try to pay, and then the other dad would try to pay. They're like, no, 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 let me pay, no, let me pay, let me pay, let me pay, and then they fight over it. They end up like getting angry at each other. I'm like, yo, chill, man. Like, can both of you let this other guy pay? If anything, like he's helping you, and if anything, it's kind of like an ego thing. It's like, no, no, I'm the good guy. Let me pay for you.
Hmm.
I'll help you. Like, let me get the respect kind of thing.
I'm the
And then they end up
provider.
fighting like that. Yeah, exactly. They end up actually getting angry at each other. I'm like, yo, chill, bro. They're like, they try to shove it in the other person's pocket and everything. They're like try to zip up their own pockets and everything, or try to run away. Like, so I understand from your perspective, it's like it's hard to receive that compliment because in a way you kind of feel like you don't deserve it. You feel like, huh, like what did I do to deserve this? Like it's not even that big kind of thing. So in a way, it's like we feel like we're not worthy. And one thing that for all the people listening, I would like to give another tip is that if you're feeling like that kind of imposter syndrome, you feel like you don't deserve this compliment, you don't deserve this money, what you should do is realize that receiving something can also be a gift. So when you give the gift of receiving, you're actually making the other person feel great as well. Because when people give, it's a gift because going back to the idea that we're all connected, we are one. When I give to you, that's why they say the more you give, the more you get. When I give to you and you say thank you give me the gift of gratitude. And I'm like, oh man, this guy appreciated my gift. Like, I feel good too. Like I gave you, I said, you're the best, man, Gabe. You're such a great podcaster. You have great questions, and you're just so good at making me feel comfortable. And if you say, nah, that's not true, that's not true, like you're pretty much smacking me in the face, but like, yo, you're calling me a liar. You're subconsciously calling me a liar, right? So when you call me a liar, you make me feel bad. Like it's all subconscious. All of this is under the conscious mind. Although this is going back to what we're saying about the subtext. We're not, although we're saying I'm fine, although we're saying I'm good, you don't actually mean it. So deep down, this is what communication is at its core. It's not the words we say, but it's actually the deep down meaning of the words, how we say it. So when you say, nah, that's not true, you're calling me a liar, then I feel bad as well, because then I'm not feeling that gratitude from you. So if I could give anyone any tip, it's like, just say thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate that, or anything. Like, I appreciate that you think that. Even if you don't truly feel that, just appreciate it, that they are seeing that in you. So, and then you reflect that love back to them. And then it's like a win-win. I'm all about the win-win scenario.
Those are the best scenarios anyway. Yeah, man, for me, today, of course, I can receive those compliments and I really appreciate them and I can really feel them and let them flow through me. But and like a few years ago, maybe I would truly think like, nah, I didn't do anything. No, why are you telling me that?
Yep.
And it's something
Yep.
cultural as well. Like, um,
Mm.
my dad's family, all of the guys are always with those self-deprecating jokes, and I guess
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
some of the that culture that flows. But
Mm.
yeah, man, once you start letting people compliment you, you also start giving away more compliments because it's like you
Mm-hmm.
give and you take, and it's the
Yep.
win-win situation, like you said.
It always comes back to we all one. We're all reflections of each other. We're all just a piece of the puzzle of the great tapestry of life, right? We're all just one thread, but we're like a drop in the ocean, but we're all from the same ocean, right? So the more it's all these great adages, all these sayings, all these idioms that have stood the test of time. You are what you eat. The more you give, the more you get. Treat thy neighbor like how you'd like to be treated. It all makes sense because the more that you help that person that's right in front of you, you're helping yourself because we're all connected, right?
Yeah, man. And do you believe in karma and the law of attraction, that kind of thing, that kind of
100%.
energetic um, magnitude or
100%.
magnetic
100%.
stuff?
Yeah. I believe in all those ideas because I've been practicing these ideas since I moved to Perth 7 years ago? 7 years ago now. Yeah, 7 years ago. And when I've been on this self-development journey, right? So funny that you mentioned the law of attraction. I actually want to tell you the first. the first time that I really started to believe it, where I was like, holy shit, this is definitely real. Like, goddamn. Like, pretty much when I was living in Perth, obviously I got into The Secret, I got into all this kind of stuff. Bob Proctor, shout out to Bob Proctor, Think and Grow Rich, all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to prove to myself how this shit is for real. So I wanted to imagine at first. I was like, oh, a cup of coffee to manifest, that's a bit too easy. So I thought to myself, how about two butterflies, two monarch butterflies dancing around together in like a twirl, like a DNA twirl, infinity sign, twirling around, dancing around. I wanted to manifest seeing that in my physical reality. And so I remember going out, taking my dog out for a walk, my auntie's dog out for a walk. And I was like, Chopper, we're fucking gonna set our mind to it. Let's fucking make this a real thing. Let's bring these two butterflies into manifestation. Let's bring it into reality. So I grabbed him and we started to go for a walk. I was like, oh, that's where these butterflies are. They're around the corner. Are they gonna be on those flowers? Are they gonna be on those trees? I'm gonna fucking find you guys. I was like going around looking for these butterflies. And after 1 hour of looking for these butterflies, nowhere to be seen. And I was like, fucking hell, I can't believe that I fucking believed this shit. I was so gullible. I believed The Secret. Like, Jerry and Esther Hicks fucking lied to me. I was so gullible. I can't believe I believed it. I'm so stupid. I'm so naive. So I let go of that. I was like, I can't believe I got tricked. So I started to believe that law of attraction was bullshit. After a few weeks, I let it go. Completely forgot about this whole idea about the butterflies. And I went on the daily walk again with the dog. And I was walking around, completely forgot about it, went through the usual routine of the dirt path, walking down the dirt path road, and I got to this gate that I usually go through. Opened the gate, this wooden gate, and I walked through, and at this point, there's always a fork in the road. Always a fork in the road. But I always go to the right because my auntie led me that way. She's like, yeah, go to the right, you could go to the circuit and you walk all the way back home. But this time, for some weird reason, this intuition, this feeling inside me was like, take the left side. Do it. Just do it. And I was like, okay, I'll take the left side. So I took my first step towards the left side and I see straight away those two motherfucking butterflies, monarch butterflies, dancing with each other like an infinity symbol, like a DNA strand, twirling around, dancing, chasing each other. And I was like, holy shit. Yo, Chopper, look at that shit. We're fucking, that's what, do you remember that shit 3 weeks ago? Yo. So I started following these butterflies. I was like following these butterflies, like following down the left side. I'm like, holy, this is fucking crazy, man. Like, I completely forgot about this shit. And I just realized that one of the main rules of manifestation is you have to let go of the manifestation. You can't be attached. Because as soon as you're attached, you're always looking for it. You're always searching for it. That means if you're searching for it, that means you don't have it. But if you let go, it means you already believe and you already trust the universe that it's going to happen. So I started remembering that. I was like, yes, life is real. Like, this is crazy. Manifestation is real. Law of attraction is real. So I started following these butterflies down the left side of the dirt road, and they disappeared around the hedge. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to follow these butterflies. So I follow around the hedge, and I shit you not, as soon as I go around the corner, everywhere, butterflies everywhere, bro. I was surrounded by a tornado of monarch butterflies, those orange and black striped butterflies everywhere around me. There was at least 100. Like, I look forward, butterflies, left, right, butterflies, behind me, butterflies. And I was just speechless. I couldn't even say anything. I was just
Whoa.
like, what the fuck is going on? And as soon as they came, they disappeared that quickly, like a tornado, gone. And I tried to chase them. They flew so quickly away. And you know, the more you try to chase a butterfly, the more they disappear so quickly. And like, as soon as they came, they were gone. And I tried to look more, but I just couldn't find them anymore. And I just wish I recorded that shit because I have no proof. except for my story. But after that, I remember turning on my voice recording. I was like, motherfucker, what the fuck? Life is a dream. If you believe, if you take one step, God takes two. Like, God is always going to give you more than you expected. Our human minds are so limited. My mind was like just two butterflies, but God gave me hundreds. Like, we cannot limit ourselves because we don't know what the limits are. There are no limits. We are the only ones that give ourselves a limit. And I was speaking this into the recording for like 20 minutes, screaming into it because I was just so energetic. I had so much energy, and I would listen to that recording like every fucking day. I was like, "What that fucking happened, man?" I'm so sad because, like 6, 7 months after that, I lost my phone in a rainstorm. So I have no proof at all anything but my story and my memories. So even telling you the story right now, it's so hard to believe. Like I can't believe I actually went through that. Like I can't believe that wasn't a dream. It felt like a dream, but it was just so. It fucking happened. Like life is a dream. Like so many things happen to us where we're like, what the fuck? Like I can't believe I'm an actor. Can't believe like I worked on Marvel. Can't believe I met fucking Simulu. Can't believe I met fucking all these amazing people. Like what the fuck? Like it's so weird how the world works. I can't believe I'm having this conversation with you, Gabe. Like you're a real person, and if we had brought someone even just 20 years ago, even just 10 years ago, we put them into this moment right now, and they're watching what we're doing, they'll be like, what the
The
fuck is
fuck?
going on right now? This is real time. This is real. You're a real person. I'm a real person. We're both. This is not a computer, and it's live, instant. Like 15 years ago, this would be what the fuck is going on right now. FaceTime, all that shit. So we got to dream, man. We got to dream. We got to protect the dreamers, but we got to keep those dreamers accountable and make sure that they're working towards those dreams every single day. It's not just in here. We're going to bring that into the physical reality.
Dude, that story is beautiful, really. And yeah, like you said, we often limit ourselves, and like we were talking about in the beginning, like the school system tries to put you into those tiny boxes, and at the end of the day, everyone has their own abilities, their own talents that they're born with, and most of the time we don't let kids do what would be their best interest or their best talent. Or there are so many kids that
Exactly.
wanted to be a firefighter or a sportsman or an actor
Mhm.
or a painter or whatever, but we all always try to put them into those tiny boxes. No, you're going to work with this or that. You're going to be a doctor. And we don't need that many doctors at the end of the day. We need that more people that live with joy, that are living in alignment with their purpose, of what they're here on earth to do. And one thing that I was, it's very interesting. Our mind doesn't really know the difference between what's a dream and what's reality. It's quite fluid for it. And when you start imagining things and visualizing, you
Yes,
create the neural connections in your brain as if you were doing the thing itself, as if you were literally doing
exactly.
it.
Exactly. It's like they say your mind can't tell the difference between your imagination and your reality, like something that's actually happening. Like you get those things where you're sleeping and you're trying to sleep anyways, and then I don't know, you feel like you're falling and you're like, oh shit. Like your brain has no idea. It feels like it's real. So I want to ask you, actually, how did you get into all this kind of manifestation and law of attraction and knowing that your visualization can create your reality?
Yeah, man, to be honest, it's quite recent. I've I've tended to be more on the skeptical side and not believing and trying to think of things from a more rational perspective or a more logical
Mhm.
perspective. But recently, my cousin, he told me that I should read this guy that's called Frederick Dodson. Don't know if you know him.
Mm. No.
So he has this book, Levels of Energy. He has a bunch of books, but levels of energy is like the entry level. It's like the first thing
I
that you should
think I
read about
think
him.
I think I have I think my friend has told me about the levels of energy. Can you just give a brief summary?
Yeah, Redham loves it, so he might have told you something about it as well. But yeah,
Mm.
basically, well, this guy, the author, he had some very weird shit happening when he was a kid. So when he was
Mm.
like 6 or 8 years old, he started waking up with those weird marks in his skin, and his
Oh
parents
shit.
took him to the doctor, and it couldn't possibly be himself because there were places that he couldn't possibly reach. So it wasn't that he
Mm.
was sleepwalking or something, it was something else, something external, but they couldn't
Mm.
tell what it was. It was not a bug, it was not an animal, it was not another person. They couldn't figure it out,
That's
to the
creepy.
priest, to all types of religious figures to try to figure it out if he was being like
Mm.
possessed or something.
Oh shit.
And so he entered this search of his own when he was still a young boy. He wasn't even a teenager yet, and he started reading like the Bible, the Quran, all of those religious texts and philosophies. And eventually, according to himself, he he was being visited by extraterrestrials. I
Oh
won't
shit.
get into that if it's real or not,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
the thing is that since he went through this soul searching and he read about so many aspects of ancient philosophies, ancient religions, he started sort of developing a framework that it's kind of, I wouldn't say all encompassing, but it gets a bit from here, a bit from there. So he it's very interesting to read what he has to talk about. And the levels of energy thing would be, for instance, when you're at a neutral level, um, yeah, that's not really it, actually. I'd have to, it's there, he came up with a scale for in that you can sort of relate the emotions to the levels of energy. For instance,
Mhm.
when you're in grief, you're at one of the lowest levels of energy you could be.
Oh,
So
those. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah, that kind
I
of
thought that
thing.
was I thought that was David Hawkins. That it wasn't him. Oh, sorry. He's power versus force. Okay, yeah, I love that. And then like enlightenment is like one of the highest, and like
Yeah, yeah,
unconditional love.
exactly.
I love that
It,
shit. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, David Hawkins is pretty much, it's very parallel what they talk.
yeah. Hmm.
Or at least the scale is pretty much the same thing, but with a bit different
Yeah, yeah.
wording, a few different concepts.
Mm,
But yeah, at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same thing as
I
power
love that.
versus force.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. I love that. Okay, so what was the like the catalyst for you to kind of get into this whole more so like a law of attraction, all that kind of stuff? Like,
Yeah,
was it,
man.
you said it was
So
recent? Is there
So my
something that happened?
cousin, he said, "Man, you need to read this guy. You need to read him." So he lent me his Kindle, and he had a bunch of books from this guy, Frederick Dodson. And I read the first book, that's Levels of Energy, that's the entry level. And then it gets interesting in the next book, because the
Mm.
second book he told me to read is called Parallel Universes of Self. And it's all
Oh, now
about,
you're talking my language.
yeah, it's all about what he calls reality creation. And that's
Yes.
kind of the same thing as the law of attraction, but
Yep.
in his words he calls it reality creation. So like you have infinite parallel universes that you can go
Yep.
into, and
Yes.
you can
Yes.
sort of choose what universe you want to go into. And so now you're in the universe that you became a Marvel actor, but maybe you want to skip
Mm.
to another universe where you do something else, and it's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of the main concept.
Yes. Yes. So that kind of reminds me of the book Reality Transurfing. Have you heard of
I
it?
think so, yeah, but I didn't read it yet.
It's very similar concept, but it's like written. It's written by a Russian quantum physicist. His name is Vadim Zeland. It's a very dense book if you want to look into it. But
I'll
there's a
definitely check
whole
it out,
what's
man.
it called? You could. It's actually on YouTube as well. It's like word for word. You could just. There's like I think 27 episodes, but I think they pretty much read it all the way. Oh no, did it freeze?
Yeah, man, I'll definitely check it out. And
But you started reading that book. But like, were you going through anything like, were you going through something, or was it just the book just coincidentally came into your life?
no, not really. It was pretty much a manifestation, I guess, or a synchronicity because my cousin just told me to read it, and it was kind of out of the blue, actually. He wanted my dad to read another book, and
Yeah.
since my dad had the Kindle, then I sort of inherited it from him because he didn't end up reading the book, and I got it from him, and then he told me about those two books, and
Mm.
I started reading everything I could get from that offer. And yeah, man, I'm going to check reality transurfing because I'm interested now. You got me
It's
hooked.
dense. It's dense, bro. It's a dense book, but it has a lot of insight, and it's probably similar to the parallel universes thing you're talking about. But yeah, it talks about real. It's the idea of reality transurfing is like you're surfing from one reality to another, and the idea is similar concept where it's like infinite quantum realms that you can jump into as well.
Yeah, the best books are the densest, at least for me.
True. Speaking of books, have you read The Creative Act yet?
Is that the Rick Rubin one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I bought it. I started reading it, but I haven't finished yet. But yeah, I have, and
Interesting, hey?
I have also listened to some of his podcasts in which he
Yes.
featured. He's an interesting guy.
He's so interesting, bro. He's such a great creator. He's just like such a calming spirit as well. Like if you got the audio version of his book, he's just so the way he reads is so calming and so soothing, and it's like a meditation. Like after every chapter, he gets a Tibetan singing bowl. It's like dong, and it brings you to the present moment. You're like, oh damn, this is so good.
Yeah, I was uh, listening to the audiobook on YouTube, but I slept because his voice is so soothing.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
So, so
So
yeah,
relaxing.
I'd have to re-listen to it or read it because I don't want to sleep on him. That
No,
guy is a
no,
legend.
he's a beast.
He is, and he's worked with so many top creators in Hollywood and
Mm.
musicians, and he's done so many records. And yeah, since you are an actor, I figure it makes sense that you like him.
Yeah, man, he's such a great dude, man. Just like you could tell that he's coming from a genuine place of really just wanting to help people, and he doesn't want much. He just wants to create art and enjoy life. And I think there should be more people like him. Definitely,
Yeah, he's very authentic, and
that's the
yeah,
word.
most people live lives that they hate to get money to buy things to impress people that don't care about them, like
Facts.
Fight Club will say.
So true.
But yeah, man, I wish, or at least, yeah, I don't wish. It's something that we're working for, that we're striving for to help people break out of the shell and look for their purpose and start working towards that and
Uh,
stop being little rats in the rat race,
mm,
not only on a financial perspective, but especially on a mental and spiritual perspective.
yeah, I would say that's even more important.
And man, going back a bit in to when you started as an actor, you were in Canada after Toronto won the NBA championship, and
Yep.
how did you end up acting? And you did that first movie in which you had to act as yourself, but after, how did you get into the Marvel movies, and did you meet some of the stars? How was that? How was your
Yeah.
relationship to them? Did you get to talk to Robert Downey Jr., for instance?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. So what happened was this is another manifestation story actually. So the whole reason why when I got into acting, I came back to Sydney, and all of this stuff that I was learning about the industry, I was just like mind blown because everything was perfectly synced brick by brick. I was like, this is perfect. It had to happen exactly this way. So when I came back to Sydney, I was just diving into just doing small roles, doing free gigs, doing student films, all those kind of things, just to get myself to become a better actor, right? And I think like 1 month into coming back to Sydney, just 1 month in to my acting career, I saw that there was an ad, not an ad, but like I saw that they were gonna film Shang-Chi in Sydney. Out of all places in the world, they were gonna film the first ever Asian Marvel superhero movie in Sydney. And I was like, whoa, that's not a coincidence. I'm
That's a
gonna be
butterfly.
I'm gonna be Shang-Chi, bro. As you can see, I did not become Shang-Chi, but I knew that as soon as that happened, I knew that that was not a coincidence. I knew in my heart that I was gonna be in the movie, and so I was already using my visualization to imagine myself in the film. I was trying to reality transfer into that movie already, and it wasn't until because I was doing that for a few months, but it wasn't until one day I had a dream. And I had a dream that I was in the movie, filming the movie already. And it was a lucid, excuse me, it was a lucid dream. So at that point, I was writing my dream journals every single morning. And I woke up that day and I wrote down, I typed in the, what's it called? I typed in my dream. I was like, holy fuck, it's real. I'm in the new Shang-Chi Marvel Asian superhero movie. What the fuck? And that I wrote that, I think I wrote that down in 2019. We didn't film the movie until mid 2020. And I still have that note. I should screenshot it. I still have that note of how I wrote that shit because it fucking blew my mind. That was like my mind, my subconscious proving to me that things are on its way. And so I just had to keep believing and keep progressing towards that journey. Anyways, long story short, I ended up being not the main stunt actor. I wasn't the body double for Simu Liu, but I was one of the fighters, and I got to do fighting for like a whole 12 weeks straight in one of the village scenes. And I was also in. Have you seen the movie? I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Shang-Chi,
I
but
haven't,
there's
man.
okay. That's
I
all good.
need to now.
There's another scene where like there's like fight scene. There's a kidnapping scene, and I don't want to ruin it too much for you, but I'm pretty much one of the characters where we're wearing like all black and we're like the bad guys. We're like the bad guys. We're wearing all black and all you see is our eyes. We're the 49ers and we pretty much are the death dealers and the Mandarins henchmen pretty much. So we were fighting all the time and fighting demons at one point. And yeah, it was just a very fun experience because I got to meet so many like-minded people. I got to meet the main characters as well, and I got to play basketball with Simu Liu as well. He's a shout out to him as well. Actually, funny story with him. I'll save for another time, but I think his perception of me is very interesting because I we got to play basketball together as well, like outside of working hours. And at that time, I wasn't the same person as I am today, right? Back then, I just got into acting. So I think I was only like a year into my acting career. And so I was still had this like desperate energy. I had this energy. I was like, oh, fuck, we need to meet. Yeah, I'm going to show you around town. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you that. Or it's kind of like I still had that like desperate energy of like, be my friend. Like kind
Too
of
much.
yeah, yeah, it was like kind of be my friends because deep down it's like the insecurity where it's like, oh, if I become friends with this guy, it's gonna help my career as well. But you know what's crazy is that there was that genuine, authentic version of me where I was like, I honestly just wanted to be friends with him and show him around town and that kind of stuff. But the subtext, there's always that subtext, right? We're always talking about the tone and stuff. So looking back from his perspective because in my heart of hearts, I was genuinely wanted to be his friend as well, and I didn't want to milk him of his status. But from his perspective, I could imagine him saying like, "Fuck, this guy just wants me because gonna be famous in the next few years. He just wants to leech off me." So I can understand where he's coming from as well. So Simu, if you're ever watching this, I can understand if you think that I'm still that dude, but The energy's very different already because actually the first time I actually met him, it's fucking crazy how this world works and the synchronicities because that guy, the director that got me into my first fuckboy scene, my friend's best friend, that series I was telling you about, that short film that he was directing, the best friend, that one of the main characters in that film is the best friend of Simu Liu. He's literally the best, like, he's literally his best friend of like more than 10 years. And so, me being the guy that like I use information, right? So, the first time that I ever met Simu was so embarrassing now I look back at it, but I thought I was doing something right. So, I was volunteering at this kind of it's pretty much the Oscars of Australia, Sydney's Oscars, but it's way smaller than Hollywood, right? So he came he came because he was promoting his film and stuff, and I was volunteering there because my friend got me a free gig there. And I remember seeing, I was the one that was helping people to sit down on their seats. So I got to speak to people that have been from Vampire Diaries, people have been from Home and Away, people have been from big movies like that. And so I looked on the list and I was looking for Simu Liu. I was like, this is my opportunity to make friends with him and to introduce myself and to talk to him and just build connection, right? So I was like, Simu Liu, Simu Liu, Simu Liu. I found him. And so I was waiting for him to sit down. I found where he was sitting down. I came up to him. I was like, hey, dude, huge fan, blah, blah, blah. Bro, do you know, Jason? Jason, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, yeah, that's my best friend. And I was like, oh yeah, blah, blah, cool. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was just so all over the place. So, like, it was, now looking back, it's so cringy, like, looking from his perspective, he's like, who the fuck is this guy? How does he know my best friend? And like, but because I had that information from my director, and I was like, oh, like in my mind, it was like so perfect. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like, yeah, thank you to your like because of your best friend's director, I got into acting because of this. Like we're all connected. Like I'm Canadian as well, but I didn't like in my mind it made sense to do it like that. But when it came to reality, it was just like I'm a fucking psychopath. Be my friend. Like, that's how it felt.
Dude, you were
So,
such a stalker. You went full
yeah,
NSA on him.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. So I understand if he never wants to be my friend again, but I'm cool. I'm resonating from this space of knowing who I am, and yeah, I'm not sure if he remembers me from that because we I guess we in a similar circle all the time, and like that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just a very interesting time. Like this just made me realize that like everything's connected, and that is not a coincidence. Like it's just things like that make you realize like what the fuck? We're really in a simulation, man. This is not real, bro. Like we're in the Matrix, yo, and aliens are just watching us, laughing at us, watch like playing The Sims.
Yeah, man, if you're listening to this, you need to give my buddy Mavrex another chance. He's a bit of a stalker, but he's worth it, I promise.
Yeah. I'm more of a stalker than a jealous girlfriend, bro.
Yeah, so you're dangerous, man.
Yeah, I am
You
dangerous, man.
really deserve to
Don't
be the
fuck with
bad
me, bro.
guys on that movie. And bro, how do you help people break their limiting beliefs? Do you teach them how to use storytelling to sort of hypnotize yourself to break your own limiting beliefs? How do you do it?
Yeah, man. So there's multiple methods that I use, and this is why I like differentiate myself from all the other coaches because what I teach is pretty much acting techniques, right? So for me to get from one state to another, I got to do that every day on a daily basis when it comes to acting. Just like lights, camera, action, boom, and you got to go be in that mindset. You got to cry straight away. You got to get into that fight. You got to fucking start screaming at the top of your lungs. You got to be able to get from one state where you're just normal Brendan Shaw to boom, Mavericks straight away, boom. So pretty much I've been practicing with that for the last 6 years, sorry, 5 years, and I've been able to get into another mindset straight away. So all these techniques, whether Meisner technique or method acting, all these kind of things, as well as the techniques that I've developed as my own, the identity shifting methods that I've learned from like Venn diagrams, all these kind of things. It depends on the person first. I got to figure out exactly where that person is right now. Like for now, for example, like say you're in Brazil. I don't know exactly where you are in Brazil. I'm not going to ask you where you are exactly. But if you want to get from Brazil to, say, you want to go to Argentina or even Bali or Asia, you got to know exactly where you are right now, the exact coordinates, so you can find that perfect path or multiple paths to your destination. It's like Google Maps, right? The first thing that you do in Google Maps is you type in your destination, but you can't find the route. You can't know if there's going to be tolls. You can't know how long the walk's going to be until you put exactly where your location is right now. And if you lie to
Mm.
yourself, if you lie that you're in the States, but you're actually in Brazil, Google Maps is going to give you a route from the States, but you can't actually take that route unless you're in the States. So if you lie to yourself, even the slightest bit, if you tell yourself that you're not watching porn, even though you're fucking jacking off every day, if you tell yourself that you're not eating junk food, even though you're consuming sugar every day, the only person that you're hurting is yourself, right? Because you're lying to yourself and then you're not going to get the results because you're lying to yourself. So, first of all, I pretty much help my students to be fully authentic with themselves. Of course, I got to make them feel comfortable. And the way that I make them feel comfortable so that they can share their truer self is that I share my truer self. I got to lead by example. So I got to be authentic enough to say that I'm blind in my left eye. I've been blind in my left eye for 5 years, even before I started acting. I have one testicle. I had surgery two years ago, so I had to remove that testicle. But if I can still live with these ailments, with these disadvantages, and still be the most confident version of myself, still be the most healthy version of myself, still be the most magnetic version of myself, then you can be too. Vision in both eyes. Both Most guys have both testicles. So if I can do it, you can too. So I pretty much lead by example. I make them feel comfortable so that they're able to share their deepest and darkest secrets. And only when they are able to share their deepest and darkest secrets, that's when they can have true change. That's when they can start from square one and go to the next level, become a cube, become a tesseract, and elevate to the higher dimension. If we're not true to ourselves, then we cannot get to where we want to be because we got to know exactly which coordinates we are in right now first before we can get to where we want to go.
Yeah, man, the worst person to lie to is yourself. And at the same time, it's the person that we lie to the most. Or not we exactly, but most people, they tend to lie to themselves so much and tell
Mhm.
themselves stories or bullshit excuses not to do things, usually. Not the type of excuse to do the things, like your type of
Yep.
excuse, like just fuck it. Let's do it. I want to do
Yep.
it. I feel like it. Let's do it. But most people
Exactly.
they give themselves excuses to not do something, and many times things that they know they should be doing, like
Yep.
exercising or eating better or relationships being more
Yep.
present. And they give themselves such bullshit excuses. Oh no, my son doesn't let me. How old is your son? 3. Like fuck you. Like how does the
Yeah.
child not let you do something? You don't exercise
Yeah.
because your 3-year-old son doesn't let you. Fuck you.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You're fucking lying to yourself. And I'm all that to say that I used to be the biggest liar, bro. I used to be the biggest liar to myself. And that's why I can resonate with all these people that are still lying to themselves because I used to be the biggest liar. I used to lie to myself about everything. And that's why I had the shittest life because I could not look myself in the eye. I was so ashamed of looking myself in the mirror because I knew that that man in the mirror was not putting 100% into himself every single day. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect person, but I'm working myself every single day. I'm trying to lead by example. I'm trying to better myself every single day. So I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect, but I'm trying to get to that perfection. I'm trying to get to the ideal persona that I feel like is the best version of me, the highest version of myself. So I used to be the biggest liar. I used to lie about the most stupidest things. Like I used to steal from my parents all the time. I used to like steal money from my parents' cash register from their business. I used to be the biggest liar about everything, and it's because I used to be the biggest liar that now I want to be, and I strive to be a man of truth. I strive to be a man of my word in every single action that I do. So number one is transparency to me, is authenticity. And when you accept that you used to be a liar, only then when can you become a man of your word. Because if you don't tell yourself that you used to be a liar and you shut that out, you're like, oh no, that didn't happen. Then again, you're just lying to yourself and you're not facing the truth. You're not stepping into the light. And again, that's just going to hinder your progress. So again, tell yourself that I am a piece of shit. Like, fuck. Like, I was a piece of shit, but now, like, you got to acknowledge that you used to be a piece of shit so that you can become, I don't know, fucking, what can a piece of shit evolve into? I don't fucking know. Into a phoenix or some shit.
And what made you change, man?
Oh, many things, bro. Many things, but one of the things would be a huge thing was was when I lost the vision in my left eye, when I became blind, and I at that point it was if for all of you guys that want to read my story, my pinned tweet. Long story short, I became blind in my left eye, and I couldn't play sports anymore. I couldn't catch a ball, even though it was like 1 meter away from me. Someone would throw a ball to me, a huge ball. I couldn't catch it because when you can see from both eyes, you have 3D vision, right? Because you have depth. You could see like the depth of a object. But when you have just one eye, you're only looking from one eye, like I am, then there's no more depth unless something's moving. So I can't see if something is far away or close away unless I'm like moving around like that to see the depth. So, for example, say a my iPhone, I still sometimes make this mistake. I'm getting better, but it's been 5 years. But sometimes I still make this mistake. Say my iPhone is here, sometimes to get my iPhone, I'll go like this and I'll miss it because I'm like, oh fuck, I misjudged it. And then I'll have to go for it again and grab it like that. So that really fucked up my confidence. And I love sports my whole life, so I couldn't catch a ball, couldn't do anything. So my depression was like seeping into my mind like crazy. And I dropped a knife on my leg. So became paralyzed, so I couldn't even do any sports, no nothing. I was bedridden, did not leave my room until like 11 p.m. at night because my face was like so swollen and so like puffy and red and itchy and like liquid was coming out of it because I was scratching all night. So I didn't even want to look my parents in the eye. So I'd wait till everyone would go to sleep at 11 p.m. Then I'll come out and have breakfast. And so that's how fucked up it was. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. Like it was just my whole house looked like a horror movie. There would be post-it notes everywhere. Don't scratch, watch out, like all this kind of stuff. So I was just like in the most, I wasn't suicidal, but I was in the deepest, darkest moments of my life. I just couldn't face it. And I realized I needed to change something, man. If I wanted to change my life, I had to change my mindset. That was the thought that was coming to my mind. Like you got to change your mindset. Once you change your mindset, that's when the habits start to change. Your actions start to change. But you got to change within before you can change outside, right? So once I changed within, I had this goal to do a vegan diet for 30 days, plant based, because I was eating junk food. I was still watching porn every day. I was just trying whatever it took to get that dopamine rush. But as soon as I got that dopamine rush, boom, I crashed straight away. So I realized I had to let go of all that, have a plant-based diet. I went vegan for 30 days, and on the 18th day, that's when I decided, for some reason, there was a voice in my mind that was like, do the last 12 days, do the last 12 days as a water fast. Don't eat any food. So the last 12 days, I had no food and only distilled water for 12 days straight. And that fucking revolutionized my life forever. And from then on, I just saw the world so differently, and I was able to adopt these new habits and continue these habits of meditation and to fast and to just rid my body of these bad chemicals and bad thoughts. And from then on, life has been so different, man.
Yeah, those situations in which you are put against the wall and you need to do something different and try
Hmm.
something different and things that other people would think are extreme, like doing a water fast. or that's not what you do in a normal day as an average
Mm.
Joe on a comfortable life, 9 to 5, living in Canada. People wouldn't
Yep.
do that. You have to
Nah,
be
no way.
against the wall, like, and since
You
you
have to
were
feel like you
between
have
a,
no choice.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And have you been a vegan since?
The funny thing is, I didn't actually go full. So I told you the first time that I tried this vegan challenge was in Perth when I got cheated on by my girlfriend. That was 7 years ago. But when I did that 30-day challenge, the first time, when 7 years ago, I knew deep down in my heart that I was gonna go fully vegan because that's when I was open to these videos of like what the fuck was happening in the farms and how fucked up it was and how there's no such thing as humane slaughter. Like I just got heartbroken and I was like, to me, if I truly call myself an animal lover, I wouldn't eat them. I wouldn't pay for them to get murdered and get their throats sliced. So in my heart of hearts, I knew that one day I was gonna go full vegan. But at that point, I was still so addicted to the taste and how succulent pork belly tasted and crispy chicken, all that kind of shit. Because I was born and raised with that shit, right? So I knew that to let go of that addiction. So it wasn't until the first day of 2021 that I finally made the decision where I identity shifted again. So it always comes down to this. And this is why I'm so passionate about what I teach about identity shifting is because once you shift your identity, it's easy. You don't have these temptations anymore because you no longer see yourself as someone that's trying to quit. You see yourself as someone that's already quit. So I use this analogy all the time. It's like if you identify as a smoker, you're always going to say, I'm trying to quit smoking. And say you're at a party, you're at a bar, your friend comes up to you. He's like, yeah, have a smoke. I know you're trying to quit, but just have a smoke for a bit. You're like, nah, 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 I'm trying to quit. Like I'm stressed out now, but I'm trying to quit. And then 1 or 2 drinks later, same guy comes over. He's like, come on, you know you want to. Come on, just do one puff. And you're like, fine, just one puff. And you will always cave in. The temptation will always be there because you identify as a smoker. But if you identify as someone that's quit, you could have 10,000 packets thrown in front of you for free and you would never smoke another joint or whatever you're smoking because you identify as someone that's already quit. So that's the power of identity shifting, and that's the power of acting as if. We always talk about how you have to act as if it's already happened. This is the power of the acting method. Being an actor, this is why I'm qualified to teach people to shift into a new identity, is because true acting that is authentic, all the best actors in the world, the Marlon Brandos, the Walking Phoenixes, the Jim Carreys, the Leonardo DiCaprios, they're not acting. They're not faking it till they make it. There's nothing fake about their acting.
You're
They are
living it.
actually that character. Exactly. They are that person, that new person. There's no more Leonardo DiCaprio. There's no more Kate Winslet. There's no more of that person pretending to be someone. No, they are that character. They are Django. They are whoever the fuck. They are that person. So they are being true to themselves. There's no longer that person. They're not on stage. They're actually that person in that reality. So I pretty much teach my clients to become a whole new person, become Mavericks, become the best version of yourself, to become that alter ego. So that's the power of acting, true acting.
Yeah, like you said in the beginning, spelling is actually casting a spell. Like words have power.
Fact.
We usually don't think about this and we kind of take it for granted, but words have true power, especially the words we tell ourselves, because our
Exactly.
subconscious mind starts trying to prove that we are right in what we're saying, and then we try to make the reality shift towards what we're telling ourselves. And if you tell yourself, in the example you used, I'm not a smoker, I don't smoke, it's much more powerful than if you say, I'm trying to quit. Because, first, if you're saying I'm
Exactly.
trying to, that means you're not defined. You didn't make the decision that you quit.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I'm
Exactly.
trying. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try. There's no try. You
Yeah.
do or do
I'm gonna
not.
put a little bit of effort into this. I'm not gonna go 100%.
Yeah, it's like those girls that start going to the gym and they're like, yeah, but I don't want to get too strong because
Yeah.
then I'll look like a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Bitch,
exactly.
you won't get that strong,
Yo, I've been
especially
trying my
with that
whole life,
attitude.
yo, shit. Yeah, goddamn.
Yeah, man.
Facts.
Don't
100%.
worry. Like, I don't want to be that successful. Yeah, you won't be. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, man. You won't be.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. So, before we started, you said you had about 1 hour and a half. We've been a bit over that. Do you still have a bit of time? Do you want to keep going?
I probably got ahead. But thank you, bro. This has been an amazing chat, and you've been a great podcaster, man.
Yeah, man. Can I just give you my last question then, and
100%.
just so we can have
100%.
the.
Just for you. Just for you,
Oh
Gabriel.
yeah, you're lovely, bro.
I usually charge people for this.
Oh man, I can pay you with personal favors if you know what I mean.
I'm down, bro. We chat in the DM.
So, bro, this has been awesome. All we've talked about reality creation, about reality transurfing, about acting, about
Mm.
spelling. That's casting a spell with words.
Yes,
But
sir.
a question I always ask people that come here is, what's their definition of success?
So, my definition of success would be that it's different for everyone, right? But for me, my concrete definition would be that you're doing what God put you on this earth to do. Because every single person has a unique reason for being on this earth. And it doesn't matter what you believe in. You could believe in reincarnation. You could believe that this is the only life we have and that there's going to be a heaven and hell. But you cannot deny that every single person has a unique journey, and there was never someone that was exactly like you in the past. There was never someone that lived your exact same life, had your same parents, had your same upbringing. Even your twin brother, your identical twin brother, would be doing, and they're perceived differently to you. Wim Hof has a twin brother, but Wim Hof's twin brother is not the Iceman. He cannot do anything that the Iceman does. So everyone is unique, even twins. And so every one of us has a unique journey. And so that means every one of us has a unique purpose on this world. And so success would be to even be searching for that. Even if you're searching and you don't even know your purpose yet, but if you're at least looking for that purpose, then you're successful because you're on that journey. You're on that journey to self actualize. And so you're on that journey to become the highest version of you. So just to reiterate, success is when you're going on, living on your purpose. You're doing what you need to do to at least figure out what you're put on this earth to do. And there was never someone that was born in the past, in the 1990s, the 2000s, the 1800s, the Middle Ages, the prehistoric times, the caveman times. No one behind us in the past has ever been like you. And in the future, in the AI age, the Mars age, the Andromeda galaxy age, when we're living in a whole different light years away, there will never be someone exactly like the life that you're living right now. So make the fucking most of it and realize there's only one of you. So if you're speaking the truth, you're going to be your most authentic self, and you're going to be your most magnetic, your most powerful, your most happy, your most fulfilled, your most attractive self. Just be yourself. Speak your truth.
Wow, man, this was beautiful, brother. Thank you so much for coming. If you have anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up, and if you want to plug anything of the things you're doing, your coaching, anything, just the floor is yours, bro.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, so if anyone's interested in being coached by me, whether that be storytelling or just being the best version of yourself, and you just need someone to guide you, someone to keep you accountable, someone that's going to listen to you and really understand where you're coming from, then I'm your man. Because a lot of people, we talk about discipline, right? We gotta push ourselves to our goals. We gotta constantly be bombarding ourselves with discomfort and all that kind of stuff. But I know the easy way out. The easy way out is to shift your identity, because once you shift your identity, you don't have to force yourself to do what you need to do anymore. You just get pulled towards your destiny. So that's why discipline, mainstream discipline, is a lie. And so I teach that instead of forcing yourself to do something, instead of trying to do something, just become that thing. And I'll help you to shift identities so that you can just naturally just flow towards your goals, to your destiny. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you just DM me purpose on X or just Instagram. I'm Strong Scholar at Strong Scholar on Instagram and also X. So thank you so much, Gabe. I really appreciate this opportunity. This has been a great chat, and I feel like I used up a lot of energy, so I can't wait to have breakfast.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my friend and my bro from Canada and Australia, Mavrex, strong scholar, Brendan
My
Shore.
brother. Thank you, my brother. Have a great one.